Now for a while, I've been looking for a Motocampo replacement. We tried the Begode K6 or K4. It was a small electric scooter. And funny enough, during this time, Honda came out with a copy, or what people would think of it as a Motocampo, that white electric scooter. It's like that white laptop looking thing. It's been heavily reviewed in the EV space if you are constantly watching reviews in micromobility. But I think this is what really resembles it. Now, this is the FELO M1. The funny story about the FELO M1 is that the CEO actually came out of Honda. I don't know exactly what he did at Honda, but he has a couple of bikes, and this is definitely one that closely resembles the Motocampo. He also has a dirt bike. I think it's called the FW03. That resembles a dirt bike from the 70s. I'll put a picture up here. But this is obviously a copy of the 70s or 80s Motocampo. Honda's idea was that they would reduce congestion and pollution by making a tiny car and having you put a tiny petrol bike into it. Now, this is the 21st century or the 2024 version of it. I mean, it's an electrified version. There's no noise, there's no smell, so there's no fumes coming from it. It's a little bit dirty. Sorry about that, because I've actually been riding the thing around. I did give it a quick rinse. But let's have a closer look at the FELO M1, and I'll tell you why this is one of the most fun, tiny electric two-wheel EVs that I personally own. So let's get into the specs. So it's very easy to tell that this is actually a very small electric bike. Now, the wheelbase is 1190, which is actually 70 centimeters smaller than a Sur-Ron. So it's a very tiny bike. Now, the speed that you'll get from the FELO M1 is 25 kilometers an hour. However, with a few screw turns and an unplug here and there, you'll get a full speed of 50 kilometers an hour. Now, in the motor, which is right here on the rear, this is actually a hub motor that is 400 watts, but it'll actually peak at 1,000, giving you 60 Newton meters. This entire bike only weighs 53 kilograms, which is super light, basically because it's made out of aluminum all the way around. And I think the stat is that 30% of the bike is exposed on the outside. So again, another exoskeleton kind of design. Now in the battery, which is right here, is a lithium battery. I don't know exactly what cells they're using, but this is a 48 volt, 30 amp hour battery, lithium battery. And you have 8-inch tires. So front and rear 8-inch tires. On the front, you also have disc brake. And on the rear, you have, unfortunately, a drum brake. So for how awesome the FELO M1 looks, it's obviously also a smart bike. By that I mean it also has app connectivity. You can unlock it with an NFC, Bluetooth, and you can change a couple of settings through the app. On the other side, which is the coolest feature I think about the FELO M1, is this plug right here. Now this plug will allow you to do about 500 watts charging. Also with this built-in charger right here, you can plug this just into any outlet. 500 watts right here. And then you can also allow this to output 1,000 watts. So the actual charge inverter thing. So you plug this, you pop this out, plug this in, and now you just have a normal outlet. So you can plug whatever you want, you know, and if you're out picnicking or doing whatever, you do have electricity. I've tested it and it works really well. The second thing is this. Now, this is actually your battery cover. So one of the problems with the FELO is that unless you're folding it down every time, which is a bit of an annoying hassle because you're scared of people taking your battery, you also have this as an option. So you kind of slide this in here. And what that essentially does is, just like this, you lock it. So now you can't reach underneath it to grab the battery pack out. But obviously, because this is plastic, you can just yank this out, which is not a very good design, but you know, it's better than nothing, I'd say. It's better than nothing. So I'm gonna pop this out. So some of the additional basic features that you get with the bike are, this is your ignition switch right here. So this will actually unhook the latch, the safety latch, and this is also how you can start the bike. You also have turn signals, low beam and high beam. And you have these retractable foot pegs. Now, you can actually pedal bike this because in China, to have a bike where you can register, or an e-bike you can register, you need to have it be able to pedal. So I removed it obviously and I installed these, but this does not come stock with your bike. There's these tiny pedals that you can install. Basically, everyone removes it. You guys know the drill. And then you have reflectors, rear light, and your turn signals up on the front. This seat actually pops down. So we'll show you how this bike actually folds, and it's probably one of the coolest features about this bike. So if you haven't noticed already, this bike also has dual suspension. You have front fork suspension right here, and another coil suspension here on the rear. Now, this bike is actually only a single-sided swing arm. So on this other side here, there's only a chain. All in all, this bike, it comes in at $1,300 US. So not a cheap bike at all. But let me show you what it looks like folded down, and then we're gonna go for a quick ride. Okay, so it's time to take the FELO out on its ride. All right, so let's take the FELO out for a ride now. Pop down the central kickstand and both brakes, hit that start button, and you're ready to go. So there isn't a eco or sport button. It's just always in whatever the fastest mode is. Like I said, stock, this bike will only do 25 kilometers an hour. So you gotta fully unlock it to be able to do 50 kilometers an hour. Now all your controls are typically as you would see on any other bike. We're gonna go down here. And then we're gonna come up. No problem at all. I'm gonna go hit some of these speed bumps. Ooh. So as you can hear from that, the front fork, which is my biggest gripe with this bike, is that the front fork, the springs in it, are not meant for at least someone like me. But I've also had buddies who had this bike who had a lot of other issues, like battery issues and controller issues. I've luckily had none of that. So, but I do have also the same issue that any other lighter rider that have bought this bike, which is the front fork just bottoming out all the time. I don't have an issue at all with the rear suspension. It's pretty comfortable. No issues with that at all. Like I was saying, so you have your left and right turn signals. You have your horn button, really loud, and then your high and low beam, your light modes, and then your start button. Not a whole lot to go through on the center dash, but you also have this small display right here. Now, with this bike, you also have this hook thing. I'm not sure. I've managed to hook up a JBL clip onto this, so if you're looking to have some speakers, you can do that. I've also put my phone and stuff in here, so you can throw your phone in there and it won't fall out. Like, I'm not doing extreme off-roading or anything like that, so it's fine to perfectly sit there. I've also hooked up this, obviously, so that is also a thing that you can install. You do have some little spaces right here, and you have this lock as well, so kind of this is your brake, right? It works fine. It's very traditional, gets the job done. Now when the bike is unlocked, I don't think it makes any difference to the torque, but just only the top end. But the speed of the FELO is actually pretty quick. 50 kilometers an hour for a bike this small, and you're close to the ground, so it's just a lot of fun to ride. It's like when you're going go-karting. You just gotta really slow down for like the big speed bumps here. Now this is definitely not something you're gonna be able to pop a wheelie with. But this is definitely like, this turns eyes. Like when you're riding this, people are like, What the hell is this thing? I mean, compared to any of the other electric bikes like that, for example. But something like that in China is about 1,000 RMB, and this is 8 to 9 times the cost of that, which is pretty insane. It's a lot of money. And I know when I said that $1,300 is what I paid for it, and some of you guys might think that that's not that much, but if you're looking at how much e-bikes cost in China, this is actually a pretty expensive bike for something where you can't really easily carry groceries. You definitely can't carry a second passenger. And I don't know, there's very little mods you can do with it. Oh, let's tackle these. Yeah. So it takes some of these like imperfections of the road pretty well. It's just the speed bumps. And I'm going fast. So one of the things that FELO has really done well, and they really understand well, is the rake angle, because I feel comfortable riding this bike one-handed, and I'm definitely going faster than 25 kilometers an hour right now. And I don't have an issue with it. Obviously, if the road is smooth. Now, when you're riding something like this, where your head is like the height of people's rear view mirrors, you gotta be really careful, because this thing doesn't have the initial torque, but it does have the speed to keep up with traffic, or at least city traffic. So I currently moved away from kind of the more city center, and I've moved kind of to the more rural parts of China, and the streets here are not as nice. There's constant up and downs, which makes a bike like this not as ideal. But if you live in a city center where you have somewhere where you can safely park this bike, because again, there's no lock for the battery, it's just a Velcro strap right here, unless you want to like fold up the entire bike. But even then, you can just kind of take this bike, put it in a trunk, and take it with you. Pretty gradual incline, no problems, and I'm a heavier rider, I'd say, for a bike this small. Definitely not going up in crazy fast speed, but we're getting there. Now, as we reach the other side, I'll talk about the brakes. So, as we mentioned, the front is a disc brake and the rear is a drum brake. I really don't like drum brakes, especially for e-bikes like this. I think you just need more stopping power. It doesn't allow me to like come to a complete stop that quick. It's fine. It's not something where it's like I feel unsafe about it, but I would prefer definitely a disc brake on both the front and the rear. 7:39. We're only on 70% battery. I've definitely been 50 on this. Looks like we're capping out at 43 today. Gotta go slow when you're riding through the puddles on this thing because of how close you are to the ground. You easily get splashback. Man, that's kind of disappointing. 70% battery and I already can't go 50. Yeah, it seems like, okay. I definitely have gone 50, but I guess it requires a lot more battery. I feel so in control doing this on this bike. Let's do some light off-roading. Why not? Okay, where do we go? Let's go. Let's go. Oh, fuck. Should I carry the bike over? Actually, no. There's some concrete here. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Look at this. Look, my head's not hitting the top. I would have to lean over if I was on a bigger bike. Nice. This is such a fun little bike, man. Oh, this thing is not practical at all. Let's be honest. If you're spending $1,300 on a bike, I hope if it's your only bike, it's practical. Like you have many use cases for it. This would not be one of those, unless like being able to fit into a car is like the only thing you really need. Okay, let's take a quick pause here and let's talk about some things I don't like about the bike. We already spoke about the front suspension and how it bottoms out all the time. So that's one of the things. The seat, I think they've done, to be fair, a fairly good job given the size and everything they had to fit inside here. But sometimes it just gets stuck in this like slider system that they have going on here. It's not the easiest, and like you kind of gotta fit your finger in here to kind of unjam it at times. Obviously, QC issues have also not been that great. I mean, my buddy had this bike and he's got broken battery, he's got broken controller, it's making weird noises, it won't start. The second thing is these foot pegs, they're a bit small. And they don't kind of like, you can't kick them out, so you kind of gotta hook it out. I did have a aftermarket one that I'm gonna install, but I wanted to do it after the review. I also don't like how there is only a central kickstand. I would like that there to be like a side stand here, like probably to use this screw. So that's another thing. My biggest thing though, however, is not being able to lock up the battery. And we know that of any e-bike, the battery is probably the main component that gets stolen the most and is the most expensive. We also have a little bit of wobble on the front handlebar here. This needs to probably be adjusted and will probably be okay. It's not a big deal for a foldable electric bike like this, I feel like. It would be if it was a more like an electric scooter because you're higher up, but because you're sitting down, it's alright if there's a little bit of stem wobble there. Overall though, like I said, not a very practical bike, but a whole lot of fun. And we spoke about the brakes, right? Like, the brakes, I don't understand. There's so much space back on the right here. I feel like they don't want to spend the energy to develop it and just kind of keep the cost down. But this bike, in China's market of like $1,300 is pretty expensive for what it is. You'll be able to find like a bike that's, 3,000 to 4,000 RMB. That's like, that has disc brake. Even if it's a shitty one, I still think a shitty disc brake is better than a good drum brake. So we are at 52% battery, and we've gone 330. We started with 26. So you're probably gonna get close to 50 kilometers on a full battery charge. Obviously, depending on how heavy you are and how you're riding this thing, I'm pretty much just gassing it all the way and, letting it go as fast as it can go all the time. So, alright, the FELO M1. Now, let's start off with the price. The price at $1,300 I think in the US market, if it was priced at that, which I don't think it will be, is going to be a great budget bike. If you're into fun PEVs, like if you're out more for fun than utility reasons, this would be a great bike. It's something that you can also put in the back of your car. But in the China market at $1,300 US, this bike is just not where it's supposed to be. The turn signals are made a little bit cheaply. The front rattles, this rattled out of the box. I know I can fix it with kind of just twisting the screws and whatnot. Should be able to make it a little bit better. At 300 kilometers, my handlebar is bent. I assume I have to readjust that, but as you can see, it's like not completely straight anymore. The front fork bottoms out all the time, especially if you're going hard over speed bumps. I don't like the fact that you only have a drum brake on the rear, a disc brake on the front and not a disc brake on the rear. Another adjustment is that I found for about like $5-10,
ones where you can just kick and the pedals could come out. I don't know why they didn't use those instead of these ones because it's very annoying. But the biggest thing really is like the battery. I have a hard time taking this bike out and leaving it outside because someone can take the battery and just be gone with it. I'm less concerned about people taking the entire bike because it takes more effort to do that. But the battery is so easy to remove. Like, you just unstrap that and like it's good to go. Like you're like like the battery's gone. That's it. But other than that, this is a really fun bike. Just don't buy it for practicality reason. Buy it for a style choice. Buy it for fun, and this would be a great little bike for you. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the review. I'll catch you guys in the next one. I think I'm gonna be reviewing my own personal electric scooter moped thingy. It's a crazy fast scooter, probably the fastest bike that I own in my lineup, and that's even faster than my custom Talarias and custom Surons that I own. But thank you for watching this video. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.